What's up, everybody? Welcome to our channel, Honest Hockey Takes. I'm Howin, and this is Scott, and today is Fantasy Friday, which means today we'll be sharing a list of 5 players that could potentially win you your league.
Yeah, so we got 5 players for you guys that are pretty dominant players, but have come to a bit of a slow start to this year. And we think that these are types of players that you could trade for now to help you have a shot at winning your leagues. First off, I'm going to start off with Alexander Barkov from the Florida Panthers. So Barkov right now has started the season a little slow, partially because of injury and partially just because he wasn't putting up a ton of points when he was healthy. The guy has 19 points in 20 games with only 5 goals. This is a player who for years and years has been over a point per game by quite a bit, and on top of that, he scores way more than on pace for 20 goals in a full season. This is a guy who can get you 35, 40 goals if he's healthy.
So yeah, Alexander Barkov has been known to be like an 80 to 90 point player, and I don't see that changing whatsoever. They got a new player in Matthew Tkachuk this year that should help him on the power play, although it's not Jonathan Huberdeau, but Barkov is good enough. He's an elite player on his own, and he should be able to carry the team.
Yeah, this is a guy who's going to get so much ice time, guys. He kills penalties, so you got that shorthanded time. He's on the power play 1, which is never going to change. This guy's always going to be there. And his line mates are actually really decent. Whether he's playing with Matt Tkachuk, like Howin said, or he's playing with guys like Sam Reinhart, or even if Lundell moves over, which he usually doesn't because he's usually the second or third line center. But I mean, it really doesn't seem to matter who you put this guy with. He's going to be successful for you, and he's going to get back to scoring goals. This is a positive regression candidate for sure. There's no way he's going to stay around this pace.
Yeah, so right now in fantasy hockey purposes, we're telling you guys to trade for him right now because I feel like a lot of people will look at the Florida Panthers and they'll be like, oh, this is not a playoff team right now. They're not scoring as much as they did last year. And true, they're right about that.
They're right. They're definitely dope.
But you got to understand that Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk are 2 of the best players on this team. And these 2 are going to drive the offense of this team. So you want these 2 players anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So go trade for Barkov. And it probably won't cost you as much as it would have maybe 2 months ago.
And the next player that we have is Jonathan Huberdeau from the Calgary Flames, who currently have 16 points in 23 games. This player came from a 115-point season last season. So that's what he was able to do last season without Barkov being on his line 5-on-5. So this player is an elite left winger who can pass the puck. He's the elite playmaker, and he is a superstar in this league. He is just trying to get to know his teammates, get to know the city of Calgary, get to know the country better, because he came from Miami or Florida to Alberta, which is a huge change. I feel like that is the reason why he has not really picked up yet. But I know in the 30 to 40 point game mark, he should be able to elevate his game for sure.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee you guys right now that this is the lowest you're ever going to be able to get Jonathan Huberdeau, because 16 points in 23 games for him, it sucks. Straight up, it's not good. But we all know this guy is an absolute elite talent, especially as a passer. He might not score you more than 25 goals in the season, but you know this guy can get you 70 assists, which is insane. That's going to get you a lot of fantasy production. And on top of that, this guy is starting to heat up. If you look over just his last 6 games rather than the full season, you'll see that he's back on that point per game or higher pace. He's starting to put up those assists. He's got a couple goals here and there in the last 6. And this guy is just heating up. And he's finally getting chemistry with his centerman, which is what we had hoped all along. Former 40-goal scorer, Lindholm. So, I mean, this guy's got such a high ceiling. It's worth taking a stab at him, especially because people who don't play fantasy a lot are going to look and they're going to see 16 points in 23 games. They're going to be like, this guy's not even in the top 100 in scoring in the league. Why should I keep him? Any decent offer is going to get this guy at that point.
Yeah, and what he just said there, he's playing with Elias Lindholm. And if you think about it, Elias Lindholm is an elite, a pretty good shooter in this league. And then you have Huberdeau, who's an elite passer. It's a good chemistry.
Yeah, don't even forget this guy's also with Lindholm. He also has Tyler Toffoli, who scored 30 goals before too multiple times. So, I mean, that's 2 shooters on one line for an elite passer. This guy's going to get his assists, and that's going to rack up his point totals for you. So go ahead, try trading for this guy now. Alrighty, next up, our third player we have for you is John Carlson, defenseman for the Washington Capitals. Now, so far this season, the Capitals have been horrid. This is a bad hockey team. No one, I don't think, thought they'd be this bad, but then they kept getting injury upon injury upon injury. But you know what? John Carlson has been a guy who for so many years has been a reliable top 5 point per game type defenseman in this league. And this year, he's had a bit of a slow start. But you start to see the signs lately that he's starting to pick it up. So, I mean, this might be like the last chance to go and grab a guy like John Carlson right now. He's been heating up, especially in the last 5 games. And also on top of this, you're looking at a team that eventually is going to get a little healthier. You got guys like Tom Wilson coming back around the corner. You got TJ Oshie back now. This team's going to have a better power play. And for John Carlson, that's huge.
John Carlson is a good defenseman. He's a very big defenseman. He's an interesting defenseman in the sense that he's a pretty offensive defenseman. I've had him in my fantasy hockey back-to-back years before, and he technically helped me got close to or won me the league. So this guy was like a point per game player when I had him, which is insane for a defenseman, to say the least. And he's still playing with elite players in my mind, with Ovechkin and the soon-to-be back Tom Wilson, and just Kuznetsov. Just good. He just has a good opportunity there, being the number one guy, and no one else on that team is really come close to him anyway. So it's just Carlson all day long on that defense core.
Yeah, to put into perspective right now just how bad he's had a start, this guy went 9 games without getting an assist, guys. This is a guy who gets like 50, 60 assists in a season, like all the time. And he didn't get a single assist for 9 games. That's like the perfect time to trade for a guy when he's that low down. And last game, unfortunately, he did get 2 assists, so people might start to see him turning it around. But you never know. People could have soured on him by now, so he might be a cheap target to go for. And one last thing I just want to add in about John Carlson that is different from so many defensemen is, unlike other defensemen who only get assists, John Carlson has a shot. So he has a very real shot at getting 20 goals plus in a season as a defenseman, which is absolutely deadly.
And the next player I have is one of my favorite players ever, and that is Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks. Currently, he has 20 points in 25 games. To say the least, that is actually decently respectable numbers right now. Considering that he's playing on this team with the players that he's playing with right now. But imagine him getting moved in the deadline, in the actual trade deadline, moving to a contending team, whether it's the New Jersey Devils or the New York Rangers or the Boston Bruins. Imagine that, playing with elite players. And this is one of those players where I feel like if he goes to another contending team playing with good players, he's not going to have that trouble of struggling to find his game, because this player has been playing with terrible line mates for many years, and he was able to work with them. If he played with those type of players, like you saw with back in the day when he played with Panarin, how good he was back in the day. He's an elite passer. He's got elite vision. He can dangle the puck. Just an elite player.
Yeah, and one thing you can almost guarantee at this point, and there's been several articles all over online if you look to confirm this, there's almost no chance that Patrick Kane is still on this team come February. Like, he's going to be on a different roster. And pretty much literally anywhere he goes, literally any contender he's traded to, he is going to be with better surrounding talent than he is now on the Chicago Blackhawks. We've seen how the Blackhawks have been so far this year. I mean, the guy's working with Max Domi, and he's actually done a pretty good job to make Max Domi look serviceable. So, I mean, we still know he has the talent. That's not the issue here. It's the situation, and it's almost certain that in the next month or two, especially if you're patient and get him now, he's going to pay dividends right near the end of your run, at the end of the season, to try to make the playoffs and be part of your playoff run. And quite possibly, this guy could be enough to take you over the top if you're already a playoff team.
Yeah, one last thing to add. This is very similar to the Claude Giroux situation last season, where in the trade deadline, Claude Giroux got traded to Florida and was actually pretty good there.
He put up big numbers there.
But the difference is that Patrick Kane, to me, is a way better player than Claude Giroux. So
yeah, he's still way better.
Yeah, like way better. So yeah, imagine that playing on a contending team. So
yeah, with any center who's like decent point per game center, it's done. It's over.
Better Max Domi.
This guy's gonna be like 1.2 points per game kind of thing. So
there you go.
Alrighty, guys, and time for our 5th and final player we got for you today, and that is Evander Kane from the Edmonton Oilers. Now, yes, this guy's wrist is extremely messed up right now, and he is not very healthy. But this is a guy who's already started skating again, and he will be back likely around mid to end February at the latest. That means he's going to be back for the last 3 or 4 weeks of your season, and then for the playoff run. A lot of people are not going to want to hold him on their IR spot for that long. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to try to get in that last like 6th or 5th playoff spot. I need to see what else I can get. And if you offer them anything remotely decent, like not even a point per game player, someone who maybe is like a 60 points, 82 games type of guy, you might be able to get this guy. And if you do, and you're already a playoff team, then you're laughing because this guy is going to be huge for you down the stretch and during your playoff run because he's playing with Connor McDavid, the best player in the world, and he's going to just rack up the goals.
One thing I love about Evander Kane is how many hits he throws. He always leads in hits. Like
very physical, like dream fantasy player.
If he doesn't score, he at least hits and shoots a lot of pucks. So that is adding peripherals to your team already. And on top of that, this to me is very similar to last season where Evander Kane joined the team 41 games in the season.
Exactly. He didn't play the whole year, and he came in and look what happened. This time he already has that built-in chemistry.
This time he has the built-in chemistry. He doesn't have to find chemistry with any players that he doesn't have to have any type of runway anymore. He can get back into the team and he already can pick off where he left off.
And you can just see just by looking at Nuge's numbers right now for the Oilers, this is a player who's obviously not that elite of a player. And look at where he is in points. He's top 30 in the NHL in points right now. He has like 30 points. Yeah. I mean, Kane's better in almost every way than Nuge offensively. So once he comes back, he's just going to get that role. And you're going to be laughing if you gave up a guy who's like 60, 65 point in a full season and got this guy just because you were patient enough to wait a few extra months.
Yeah, remember, this is fantasy hockey. You want to win in the last few weeks of the season, right? In the playoffs especially.
Exactly. And if you trade a player on your roster to get this guy, and then you stash him on the IR, you can use any one of our videos to see who a good ad would be to fill in. A guy like Jack Quinn we recommended. I mean, you'd be laughing right now because Jack Quinn, since that video, hasn't stopped scoring goals. So that's a good strategy for you guys. Try to trade as soon as you can. Get Evander Kane before it's like a week or two away, because then everyone's going to want Evander Kane. You got to beat the rush.
Yeah, exactly the same with Patrick Kane. You want to trade him now, otherwise it'll be too late when it gets close.
If Patrick Kane's on a different team, then everyone and their dog's going to fight for this guy. You got to beat the rush here.
Yeah.
But guys, I hope you guys got some good information today. And if you enjoyed our video, feel free to like and subscribe below. We really appreciate it. And until next time, have a great day.
Bye.